All right, y'all. Hey. Hey,
Okay.
hey. Welcome to Fennel Gardens. I'm Timeless. Look, y'all been a long time, but we ready, we here. We is here, we is here. So we're gonna talk about what we left off at with reclaiming our space with Feminista Jones. So y'all can see. And I have a special guest here, a very important person.
Hello, hello, hello.
Um, so he would definitely talk to me about a lot of these things that's in the book. Y'all free if y'all listening to jump in and comment as we read some of these pages. Talk about a lot of things about Black women influencers. All right. So do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? A little bit of like your name and pronouns and maybe hometown.
Okay.
Where you from?
Okay. My name is Orlando, or you could call me Nova. Um, I am from a little small town called Bogalusa. I live here in Baton Rouge now. I've been here for 11 years. What else
Yeah.
I go by? Uh, I haven't really decided on my pronouns yet, but you can just call me he for right now.
He. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he.
Pronouns are important, y'all. Listen, pronouns are very
Yeah, yeah.
important.
I haven't made a decision on whether I want to go by them, they, or you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's getting there. I'm getting there.
And pronouns is a spectrum.
Yeah,
Y'all. So it can fluctuate or it can be, just one. And for me, we know it's she, her, hers. Pronouns,
yeah.
yeah, shit. And I didn't tell y'all my hometown. I probably told you before. It was Montgomery, Alabama. Yes, Bama, sweet home Alabama.
Yeah.
Country, lovely, great, all of that.
So let me ask you, do you roll tide?
I did it. I think my daddy is Auburn. I don't think he's Roll Tide though. I think Roll Tide is University of Alabama,
Yeah.
and then the other one, like the Tigers, y'all gonna hate me, y'all. Don't do this to me. But I'm not really a sports girl. But I think Auburn is the little Tigers.
Uh huh.
Yeah, and the orange.
Uh-huh.
So my daddy's and stuff like that. That's the boy side. But yeah, so I'm not really a football fan.
Because most people, they,
Yeah,
me either.
yeah. I mean, they big into it, but I'm not
Yeah.
really. I'm not really feeling the
Because
sports
everybody
like
down
that.
here is Saints fan. I
Mhm.
can't.
Yeah.
Sorry to you, Saints fan.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
not for me. That's not for me. So y'all ready to get started? Let's go ahead and get this ball rolling, and let's get started. I do a quick check in. Has it been a couple minutes? I'm sharing my screen right now. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So the only issue I have is showing my screen, y'all. I can't really see y'all the way I want to see y'all. Okay, let me see. There we go. There we go. So I'm hoping that y'all can see what I'm looking at right now. It's basically saying how you're feeling and what some highs and lows. So I haven't seen y'all probably in a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna do some checking in. If you're watching, if you're jumping in, just let me
Come
know if
on,
you're
check it
in.
in.
And I'm big on checking in. We need to do that with each other. So how y'all feeling? With some highs and lows, and I'm gonna be the first person. I'm feeling a little tired. Had a long day today, but I'm blessed and feeling grateful. Been a great week. So it's some highs for me, y'all. So it's been a great season. So it's been a lot of highs. Um, so I would say my biggest high would be the people in my life is abundantly showing me love. And friendship and romanticness is very feminist flowing. So that's a big high for me. Is connection with humans, community. That's big. So that's going great. My lows, I think that I'm a little frazzled right now with juggling career and all these great things that's happening. I'm getting a little schedule. So it's not really a low low, it's more like kind of mid
In
level.
between.
Yeah. But that's for me. That's my little thing. So how y'all feeling out there? How you feeling?
How I'm feeling? Well, I was a little tired, but I took me a little nap before we got on here, so I'm kind of feeling a little good.
Okay.
A high for me would be my spiritual advancement that I've been going through for the last past 3 years, and it's finally not not taking off, but it's getting deeper. And I've been having like some real healing moments, some real special moments, especially uh, you know, with some childhood traumas.
Yeah.
So that's been a good high. Not some lows. I would say it's been uh trying not to quit.
Oh, that's a good one.
Trying not to quit.
Keeping that discipline.
Yeah.
Keeping that ambition, that focus.
That's been a lot, because it's just like every day you get up and it's just like, do I really want to go through this?
Right.
So that's been a low for me, but things been showing me no, don't give up. So.
Don't give up. So I'm about to show y'all. Pop right back out. Did we not? We out of it? I think we have. Let me see. We might not need to see. So okay. There we go. All right, y'all. So I had to go back in and out to make sure y'all see me, make sure y'all can, hear me, how this good stuff. So I was going back and forth to the PowerPoint and then discussing what we're to be discussing. So I know some of y'all can see me or not, so I might pop in and pop out. All right, just to make sure you have a good flow. So we just talked about how we was feeling, the highs and our lows. So we're going to get started. All right. All right. So I'm gonna go back in, y'all, and show my screen to the PowerPoint. And we're gonna talk about the great book that we're reading. All right, so here we go. Ooh. I'm gonna turn to the side. So I think y'all can see it better that way. Moving on to the next one. So once again, the title of our book is Reclaiming Our Space with Feminista Jones. You see Miss Feminista or Miss Jones right here, a lovely lady, giving us all liberation work. And we'll talk about influencers in chapter 4. Let's get started with that. All right, y'all. Of course. So here's my introduction. So when I first read the page 1, then we'll read it together. It's all talking about Black women global influencers. All right. So to give you a little taste of what she's talking about, chapter 4, let me give you a little bit of something. All right. So we will discuss and read about Black women intellectual influence impacting entertainment, social media, and everyday common society. Black women emerged into social media impacting power in the beginning of the Twitter era or early 2000s. Black women increased majority in the beauty, modeling, and brand ambassadoring work. Large brands and globally started to scout popular Black women to represent their products, creating new lanes in Black marketing and enterprise. All right. So what does that mean? So this whole chapter is about breaking down since late 1990s and early 2000s, Black women using their beauty, using their brains, using their connections on Twitter, on different social media platforms, websites, and how they were able to basically we skyrocketed. And how media saw us, misrepresented us, the issues that came with that, issues coming with what brand should we even market, who should we trust, right? So talking about becoming now finally Black women holding the stage in a way where we can push brands to become marketing executives. How does that look like? And what does that even mean for us? So we'll talk about that and all of that. And we're gonna start with our girl, Nicki Minaj, who started with a good quote. So let's talk from that. So her quote, as you can see here, that's our conversation. Black women influence pop culture so much, but are rarely rewarded for it. So when I hear that quote, I'm always about I'm always thinking about black women who's not in entertainment or not in spotlight. I think about the everyday black woman who are moving mountains and who impacting their schools, their workplaces, and how they don't get no credit, they get no awards, they don't get no type of accolades, And then we think about the women who actually are creating for the world, right? Women who are entertainment, right? Who often get overlooked, who are very much important to our society and don't always get those bell and whistles. So I think Nicki Minaj spoke on that, but I could be wrong. But I feel that in that quote. So I'm gonna zoom out and talk to you. How you feel about that quote?
Um, if you just think about specifically music, um, we look at people like Beyonce, who is one of the biggest influencers of black women in music.
Yeah.
And how even she gets overlooked for awards and for stuff that we know
she should get all the credit for.
Right. And I think it's really deeper issue with black women especially. Because you gotta look a certain way, you gotta act a certain way, you gotta make sure you're not the loud black woman or the angry black woman or all of this other
respectable politics,
right?
Yeah.
And even if you're not,
right,
you still get overlooked.
Okay.
So it's like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. So when I think about that quote, especially in music, you look at all of these people, even if you go into Rihanna, like
pop girl. And I love Rihanna. Riri's everything. She's just had such a Caribbean global influence.
Right. But how many awards have she gotten passed over simply because Rihanna could drop shit like that
and everybody run to it.
Right.
So we talk about women in music, and I think they do shape pop culture. But I often think about those women who don't get a front stage, like black women we may know, like in small corporations in small towns. If they do something like a party, all the girls tomorrow are wearing it, right? I think about an old woman saying a speech in church, and everyone now understands that influence. I think about women that's outside of entertainment who don't always get the regulations they need, So as much as we need to celebrate the women in music, I also want to celebrate women that's not in music to make sure I think that's all forms of influence.
It is.
All types of people just making things important.
But if we're talking about influencers, when we get to black women, black women's been influencing since
creation of
creation. So like it just goes into all spectrum, and in this it's mainly talking about marketing and advertisement and selling to the people, and they've always resold us through us,
exactly,
and marketing it as something that's they come up with or their idea, but it's really something that was already influenced by some black woman before. So it's different nuances to this conversation, especially when it comes to influence, because it was so many things. Even if we start at the lower level of influence, not many black women held those spaces. They had to fight for that. So they still fighting for that influence in those spaces. But just think about it, how many I know for down here, it wasn't a lot of of black women who held power, and if they did held power, they were seen as uh, uh, power,
Power struck.
yeah,
Okay. I
you
feel
know,
that.
or bitchy, or
Mm-hmm.
those type of
Mm-hmm.
negative stereotypes that black
Right.
women tend to
Overly
get.
diva, being
Yeah,
bitchy,
yeah. So it was
overly being
always a
dominant.
negative impact when it came to their influence.
Yeah.
So I know for me growing up, black women has always been an influence in my life from birth up until now. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And to go back what you were saying, about women and black women influencing creation and since the dawn of time, like you were saying, there's so many things of pearls of wisdom we have gained through black women saying and teaching. And not to mention all of the things that European folks, white folks, everybody else who have also used it without giving black women credit. We hear it in soul music, we hear it in blues,
cooking.
we hear it in cooking. There's a lot of things outside of pop music. I know niggas outside of pop music, but it's so much of not enough support, and we just not feeling a
Black
little bit of
women
life.
raised half of America. Let's be honest. They were raising their children. They was cooking for them. They was doing all of that. They was making sure they didn't get sick or die. They were doing a lot of things. So black women literally raised America. So
Come on.
I mean, what more influence can you get? Like if we wouldn't have the things that we have now, if it wasn't for the backs of black women,
Yeah.
because they really carried this country into a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, let's not act like some of these marches and revolutions wasn't started by black women.
Say it again.
Let's not act like some of these marches and revolutions wasn't started by black women. You know, let's not act like a black woman didn't free half of slavery.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm. I'm big on giving people credit. I'm big on
I'm
speaking the
saying.
truth, and he just did all of those things. You know, um, and where would we be without black women? So let's continue because the conversation is hot, y'all. All right, so I'm on the screen. Do, do, do. Mm, 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 mm. All right, so there we go. All right, so let's move on to the next one. So we're gonna start reading our first page. Not sure everybody can see that. So I'm going to start reading the first page, and then we'll talk about some highlights I got from it. All right, so we're about to go into the literary part of Feminine Gardens. So you have it. You can zoom in. You can inbox me if you're watching right now. I'll make it zoom in a little bit more for y'all. Let me know if you're tuning in. Okay. So I'm going to start reading. Influencers, page 53, chapter 4. All right. Over the years, I have been approached by several brands, retailers, and television networks, film companies to support their marketing efforts. I may be asked to create a live tweet chat or event to build viewership for television shows or a film or promote a product or service of some sort. My experience is not unique by far, but it's interesting in the sense that I did not start out nor did I ever aspire to be an influencer in any sense of the word. Several of my peers have made entire careers out of these types of opportunities. And in recent years, we have seen more focus paid to Black women and large followings who influence to have direct impact on purchasing and consumption decisions of the world and the fan. All right. According to Influencer Marketer Hub, an online resource for all things related to influencers and marketing. An influencer has the power to affect the purchasing decisions of others because of their authority, their knowledge, their position, their relationship with the audience, relationship to power. Hmm. Influencers who focus on a particular niche are seen to go to people in an area of expertise. The most likely influencers are celebrities and athletes, but there are a growing need of bloggers and content creators who are not famous, people who have long focus on specific issues and have a massive following based on their expertise. Insiders, access, and knowledge. Influence marketing has exploded as a access to realize not only the cost less to have social media persona promoted their product and service, virtual spokespeople, but they're able to reach demographics underserved by traditional marketing over often due to biases and short singleness on behalf of marketing executives. All right. So that's our first page, y'all. I just went through it. So now we'll go to the next one. We're gonna talk about some highlights from this page. All right, so I have a quick highlight that I got from the second paragraph. Starting with according to influencers marketing. So it says on the screen, Black women with large following whose influencing has direct impact in purchasing and consumption decisions of their fans. All right. So for me, why that stood out is because I think I heard before. What I heard before was whoever is controlling the people that can buy something is actually controlling people mentally, right? If you can influence, if you can seduce, if you can move the people to the point where you are able to buy something, that means you hold attention and power there. And for me, I think there was so much loss of power for Black women that for you to be at center stage and say, hey, buy this juice, buy this water, right? And people actually come in droves is something that is something positive, negative in that, right? And I think for me, it is a sense of power. It is a sense of some type of marketing that goes into that. You know, some type of pull on communities, like they said, expertise. Um, so yeah. So after reading that, and by the way, let's just say one thing too. Just know that Black money pulls a lot of this shit together. Black dollar has pulled a lot of stuff together. Now, some of y'all businesses are only here because of Black dollars. Let's just be real about that. So, and yes,
Black women dollars.
Black women dollars. It's most.
That's the key thing because Black women have the most buying power.
Yes. Than any other race.
Than any other race.
Any other race. So when
and that's compared to Black men too.
Yeah. Yeah. Claim it.
So it would not, the economy would not be the way that it is now if it wasn't for Black women. Mm-hmm. And that's just the truth.
It's the truth.
You know, and a lot of companies do see that, but they do not want to give that type of power to the Black woman simply because you still have a standard. They still have this standard to hold to meet. I don't want to be white, but the white gaze.
Yeah,
you know
that's real, child.
And because of that, you can give Black women these opportunities, but give the credit to the white ones. Give the white ones the most dollars. Give the white ones the most influence.
Yeah.
And but you know that your buying power comes from
the Black purse. Okay.
And that's just what it is. It's always been political.
Yeah.
With everything we do.
And I'm gonna say something about that. I think you're right. I think white people know in the 80s and 90s that they saw an increase in product sales from Black women. And
Mhm.
that's why in the late 90s, early 2000s, you start seeing a shift with
We could go.
who's a popular Black woman we can use to sell our product. Because clearly they're
We
the
could
ones
go
who
before that.
buying it.
We could go way before that.
I think way
We
before
could
that.
go into gospel if you want
Oh,
to.
yeah. A whole genre.
We could go into jazz.
A
We could
whole
go into
genre.
rock. We could go into a lot of things
Yeah. Yeah.
that started from the Black gaze,
Hmm.
started from the Black woman.
And then stolen, and now it's white pop.
Right.
All the white pop, all of the
Right.
white music been
Right.
stolen. The tunes, the
Right.
voice, the vocal distinctions of music.
Yes.
You see it, and you see. I'm be honest, you see it in teenage white girls now who going to school for soul music and studying different things. You can see they're studying Aretha methods. Apparently, they are methods. You can see them studying even Tony Braxton methods, how they breathe, and how they do these songs. You can
The
see how they
influence of most of these women.
yeah.
Like it's been conditioned into us that we didn't hold power, but the truth is we've always held the power.
Mhm.
We just never had the control
Mhm.
over it.
I think
And that's the difference.
I think what I'm hearing from you is we have always been the ocean. We always been the generator.
Mhm.
We always been the moving force, but
Mhm.
we have often not been the person in the ship or
Mhm.
steering.
No.
And I think that's the thing I hate when you have a battery and I hug that battery. When you have something going on and you know who's actually pushing something and they're not getting the credit.
Come on, because let's think about it. Out of the many generations that we've been here, why we only have a few billionaires?
Mm, yeah.
We just now starting to get a variety of millionaires.
Hmm.
We only got a few billionaires, and we still not in the 1%.
Yeah. We still don't have a lot of Black thousandaires.
Right?
We
Like
still don't have that. We don't have enough Black people in middle class.
not in America anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's make that clear.
Yes. Because we're living a great life in Australia and London, I think. We do have more money. Even in certain African cities.
Yes.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Caribbean cities as well.
I think one of the richest person in the world is a Black man.
Oh, come on, facts. I didn't know. What we learned on the Feminist
Don't quote me on that, but I think it is one of the richest person in the world was a Black man. Was a king actually.
Masamu.
I think so.
Okay, yeah. I know that. Yeah.
So, but
Which I think he looks like a little bit. Leave it alone. But
but my whole point of saying that is like we've always had the power. We've always had the influence, but we just have not always had the control.
mm,
And a lot of people think power is control, but oftentimes power is not control. You just have power.
yeah.
You just have influence,
Yeah.
but you don't have control over what happens.
Yeah.
And that's across the board. That's across the board.
And I'm gonna go ahead and switch gears because I'm about my Black queer people, right? So I'm gonna say something that may step on people's toes. I know we're talking about Black women legacy, but I also want to switch over to my Black trans woman. I
wasn't gonna say it.
I'm going to say it, and it's in my book. It's also in the same chapter about trans Black women influence. That's what I'm gonna bring up now. I'm gonna go back to it later. But for a longest time, you hear that my Black brothers who are gay, and even just masculine or femme, no matter, you'll see them talking about, they're setting trends in the early 1970s, 60s, and 80s, and it wasn't getting any of those credit, right? And we seeing those influencing in marketing. We hear it in music. We hear it in different reality shows, right?
Let's not act like Madonna didn't steal vote.
Oh, we know that. We know how great Madonna stole it. Oh, But you know, the real Madonna is black. So I'm gonna keep it there. They're ready for that truth. But yes, yes. Um, how oftentimes we take and don't actually give credit to who was before us. And I think that that's my whole point of this. Black queer folks have been the makers of a lot of things, shakers of a lot of things. And I think that there has been a lot of credit to our
Let me tell you
communities.
something. Let me tell you something.
And that's what I'm gonna say.
Let me tell you something. Black women, and it's just the black women. Please stop. Please stop with the whole uh competition shit. Like we're in competition with you, and we're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's never. It's not about who influenced who, because we all grew up in the same kind of culture.
Yeah.
Like blackness as a culture is embedded in all of us.
Only saturated.
So
Saturated.
when it comes to how and we'll just use drag for example, if drag is different and it's an impersonation of women, and it's not often just black women, it's trans women as well. So it's not just one dynamic of heterosexual woman that was influenced in drag, because there was a lot of people who had mothers in the community.
Yeah.
Who taught them how to do makeup, who taught them how to do hair, glam, and all of that. And yes, we have the divas who were in music, who were glamorous and stuff like that, but they also had gay influences.
Yeah.
In that
black
area. So let's not act like it was just this heteronormative way. For a while, we created our own lane because we were pushed to the side. So we had to create our own kind of culture.
And I'm gonna be that girl to bring the peace and the bridge like I normally do. I'm gonna connect the two. So I think that for me, true liberation is understanding we both have not been given credit, right?
At all.
I think black queer folks who identify as cisgender and trans, but I think black women who identify as cisgender and straight, right, have not equally getting those credits. And to bring us more closer is understanding how we both been overlooked, how we've been caught against each other to make us look like there's competition.
Because we all at the bottom. And that's what they try to make it seem like one is trying to be above the other. But in their eyes, we're all at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm saying in that way.
And if we can all get on the same page of understanding that we hold the power.
And what level of oppression and social oppression looks like.
Right. We can actually dismantle a lot of things that we trying to dismantle now, but it's so much division in between each community. And it's just not between the hetero and gay trans community. It's within our own community as well. Because trans, let's not act like these little gay boys don't be up here trying to dismiss themselves from trans women.
Oh yeah.
So it's
within our own.
It's just a lot going on in our community that we just need to get on. If we could get on the same page, I can guarantee you we will be a powerhouse. And we already a powerhouse.
Unity and liberation.
Right.
Unity and liberation. All right.
And that's what influence really is. It's generating from. It's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add one more thing, and I think I'm gonna go back to the reading and start doing the next page. That is another woman that I think has got, I believe, well known. And she's very famous. And I think in her early on career, she spoke about something that I think we talk about a lot
Mm-hmm.
is people who put spirituality first. I
Mm-hmm.
think India Reed, when she first started and she had a lot of Grammy nominations. Well, didn't have Grammy nominations. And how she said she would make great music and being overlooked. It was a colorism thing. They said it was a whole sound difference thing. They were saying it was just a lot of she just wasn't enough, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm so happy she in this campaign of feeling enough now. But it reminds me how valuable her music was and how it's still valuable, right? But in a European big world, it wasn't seen as valuable or wasn't getting accolades
Well, let's
or being overshadowed.
let's not act like they haven't denounced our whole spiritual aspect of
Yeah.
life,
And that's the
of
thing.
well-being.
She had a whole spirituality before spirituality became a thing.
Right.
You
Let's
know,
like who natural wasn't the standard.
legacy as well.
Right. It was the European look. So
Legacy, I'm sorry, legacy.
let's not. It's like I said. It's always been about politics, keeping their standards high and trying to dismantle ours, and then reselling it to us in a different form.
Yep.
Because then, as you can see over the years, where it started to become more accepting once certain people got into standing.
Yeah.
And certain people started to talk about it. And it was okay for it. Let's try to push this.
Push this, right.
It's just I don't know. It's just
there's still power gatekeepers though, choosing who can be popular, who can be speaking on these things.
I hate to say when they die out.
Oh Lord.
I think we'll be all right. Cause that's even in politics.
Yeah. You've been saying it, like when the all white men die out and they gone, and who's been controlling so much of marketing, so much of radio, so much of these things that we see. Once they all pass away, I think you're trying to say, and black folks have to get to a power of, I guess.
I mean, because we're already getting there.
Yeah.
Like we have executives now that are black. We have especially black women.
Yes. And that's the point.
We have so many companies trying to go into a diverse way that they're giving us the power, but they're still maintaining the control.
Yeah. And I think that's the mind.
Right.
The mind.
And I think it's after a certain age, it's harder for you to adjust to change. Yeah. Yeah. So like I feel once they actually really step down, and I say death, but I'm not really literally talking about death, but actually step away from the control, then we can get the world where we need to be to dismantle a lot of things, where we can really fix a lot of problems, especially in our community.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet you right there. I think that I'm gonna say something. I think that I read something somewhere, I made a poem, and we can start seeing life from going back to the marketing. Black women's eyes and black women's perspective. From a more black lens, Afrocentric lens, or a Afro conscious lens, where would we be? Right? So we all.
Now, what type of conscious?
Yes, well, you're right about that. That could be problematic.
Right. I mean, what type of conscious now?
Not well. The ones that's progressive enough to have all black folks.
Now, what type of progressive?
Black liberation. We need black queer liberation. Black reproductive liberation. We need black economic power liberation.
We gotta be specific about these things now.
Yes.
Okay.
It could be you right.
It's the umbrella for all of you.
Yeah.
So what?
Because it could be a whole black power movement without black queer folks.
Hello.
It'd be a whole black liberation movement without the voices of black women.
Hello.
It can be a whole thing about having a set of all of us.
Right.
Celebrate all forms of blackness.
Yes.
All
I
forms
mean,
of
really
blackness.
celebrate, not just
Not
tolerate.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Not tolerate.
Celebrate. Affirm.
Right. Reassure that
Yes.
we are included, like really included.
Yeah.
And we also have some type of power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't just give it to those that you feel like fit the standard of what power or what if we're gonna go into gender roles, what masculinity or what femininity looks like.
Yeah.
You know, that's get away from those European standards and actually really redefine what it looks like for us to actually be American, because we are Americans and we are, unless we decided, even if we go to Africa, we still going to be seen as Americans.
Of course.
You know, so we have to really redefine what we want out of this life, out of this country while we here.
While we on this what I call American land, Africanize your life. Which is a whole different conversation.
We could go anywhere across the country and still receive the same type of
treatment. Yeah.
From my own people.
There's a whole conversation there. Whole conversation. We'll talk about another day, dog. So let's go back. We're gonna go back into Feminine Gardens literary moment. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna show my screen again. I might see a little email. Just don't worry about that email. All right, let's go big.
Long time see a little.
Oh, we don't even see that. No. Let me see. I have it on my thing. Okay, I have it on my thing. Oh.
Can't you search it?
I may have to. Let me see.
Let's search it.
Oh, PowerPoint. It's PowerPoint chat. Oh. Yeah, this is the extra stuff y'all get to see. Oh. Let me see. All right, so this, I think this is it for today. Yeah, today. All right, y'all. Technical little stuff. Scroll down. So we are at just the second page. It's getting a little late, so I'm not going to do all the pages like I originally wanted. I might just brush through and see exactly which page I think I want to talk about in this chapter. So we had such a good dialogue. So I'm going to look into, go scan through y'all a couple pages based on Spotlight. Let me see. Okay, so I do want to talk about it in this page. I do want to talk about it. Okay. So would you like to read for me this page? No? Okay. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna read from this one here, page 54, and I might skip a couple pages and go straight to the juicy part. I'm a little late. About trans influence. Okay. Make sure though. Make sure I want to read this. Make sure. Make sure I have so much. Oh, y'all going through it. Okay, we'll leave that out. I don't think we need to talk about that. I think we should talk about this though. Okay. I'm about to read page 54, chapter 4. As is in this case, with Black women, marketing agencies have discovered the powerful influence we have in social media, places that know that we would be severely remiss or ignoring the growth potential in our market and with our audiences. I began doing influencer advertising when I was a staff at blogger.com. Our site geared towards female bloggers and content creators that officially merged with SheKnows.com in 2015. As the love and sex section editor, I grew my own personal following. It merged in 3 years. I worked for the site. It was treasure trove of subscribers looking to advise on how to find a man, keep a man, knock his socks off in the bed. My popularity has always been sex positive feminist blogging, which had attracted the site's senior editors to me. And when they offered me the opportunity to join the team, I jumped on it. There was an influencers program that allowed participants to sign up for various campaigns and brands like Walmart, Dove, Coca-Cola, and many more. We were paid based on the content we created and promoted those products and services. We might have extra share set a number of tweets and Facebook posts in a specific period of time and attend focus groups and events composed of sponsored blogs, posts, shared experience, and promote products. Though the appeal was strong, I did not accept every offer made to me. I remained committed to upholding my own personal values and my endorsements in companies and services and brand ambassador work. I opted out of lucrative opportunities due to promotion for Walmart because I took issue in what I believe in Walmart exploitation, the whole American labor, wages, overall health, and other things like that. Then I did a campaign with Dove before realizing that there also was a link of practice I do not support. And when I realized that I own almost every product in my house, I started becoming more aware how often I compromise my values for consumption habits. I made a commitment, at least in that mindful moment, that this is evaluating my professional and promotional opportunities and what products and services I'll be willing to endorse using my name on any brand. All right, y'all. I read 54 because I'm about to go deep. This turning point in her life when she realized she was getting a lot of influence from a lot of brands and things like that, she started realizing that some of these brands hold standards that doesn't align with Black women, right? Or doesn't support us or doesn't align with liberation and freedom, whatever that looks like, right? And she had to back away from these huge paying people, right? And then it goes back to us, back at home, back on to working class, normal Black folks who not in entertainment. What are we promoting or doing that we feel sometimes not aligned with? What work and jobs that we're doing that we sometimes feel like this ain't serving us, right? So I do all this to make sure whatever I'm reading, I connect the dots through Black reality. And I think this page here talks about her moment back at home when she realized I did a commercial for this brand and this brand, but I heard they had a whole article about Black women doing this, or Black men should not be doing this, and these other things, or we don't support queer folks. And she said, I don't believe in any of that. Right. So I just supported a whole brand that doesn't even align with my heart. So I wanted to just have a moment to talk about that. You know, that part. So yeah. Has there ever been a time you recognized or stood for something that you now go back and say, you know what, they changed or they switched up and I don't align with that anymore?
So we talking about friendships too?
I mean,
we could go deep. Cause that's listen.
That's deep, y'all. I'm gonna take it there. We can say it, I guess for time, keep it within.
I'm saying like
keep it within business and companies.
Okay, so we're gonna go into business companies. I feel like a lot of what we work for, like their values don't ever align with what we stand for as a people. Sometimes we just there to collect a check, and we collecting a check that. Do you feel like you selling yourself short?
Yeah.
For a check.
Yeah.
You know, I think I struggle with that now because it's just like I work for a company. I'm not gonna say company names, but I work for a company that promotes, you know, how they want it. Every company is doing it, but promoting the credit cards and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know that messes people credit up and stuff like that. So it's like I had to step away from the sales floor to stop doing that because it's like I know for my own personal self and reading, I was trying to get my credit together, and I know one thing is to not open a store credit card uh, because it messes with your trying to get like a car, a house, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I was getting these people or trying to get these people to open credits, and it was messing up their credit, especially if they wasn't um, getting approved for it. You still get a hard inquiry for it, and that shoots down your credit,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's 2 years to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to really sit up there and like, if I'm trying to help my people
Yeah.
build and be strong, like I'm doing myself a disservice by telling people to be financially stable and fix their credit, but at the same time going, hey, would you like to open a store credit card? You know, and
the internal tug.
yeah, it's so much. Even we can go into buying food.
Oh yeah.
Like how many of us still buy Chick-fil-A? Still buy Starbucks? Still buy a lot of these fast food restaurants that half of them supported Trump.
Yeah.
You know
that part.
So
a lot of us definitely don't support him, and
but
we still are
it's still that what you call it, that
persuasion.
No. Damn timeless. That
the pull, the control.
No.
What's the synonym?
For when you when you don't want to cook, but it's easier to get food. Fuck.
When you settling? No. I bet you I have a word. I can't.
I do too, and I just can't think of it. But hey,
So
anyway,
it means, this word means
when I don't want to cook, but I also don't want to
obligated
to I don't want to cook, but I need food, so I'm gonna go to the Wendy's to buy food.
Oh, when it's convenient.
Convenience.
The
convenience of it all.
Convenient.
When the convenience of it all.
And that's also, there goes into architecture too.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
So the convenience of just buying something because it's quick.
And that's called economic justice.
And it's
not economic, environmental justice. Environmental poverty, where you put all the fast food, you put all the drinking stores, you put all the stuff you really don't need in a Black community, and you make sure all the Black folks have lower rent there, so they can go there, right? So the jobs that they have to get is paid lower, so they can live in these places, and it has all these fast food around it. So that's called environmental injustice. It's another word. I'm missing it. It's another word for that. But
it's just such a convenience to do that, and it's like you don't want to support these companies, you don't want to put these money to come, but you still, even if you go buy groceries, how many of us go to a Black-owned grocery store?
Yeah, and if you do have one right across town, and it's not accessible.
Yeah, so you go to Walmart, you go to these places, you go to these companies that are, it's convenient for you to do. Yeah, so like I don't know. It's just like, how do you decide where you spend your Black dollar? When it's so convenient
to stay where you at and do what you've been always seen to do.
Yeah.
And just going back to the book, I think oftentimes we see products and we see things that we may want, and after learning something, like, nah. I think for me, that was a big thing with meat and land meat, and trying to do the whole vegan or vegetarian thing. Is learning about all the things that we have that was processed, all the other stuff, and they're pulled in tub. Because child, chicken tastes still good. There's so many things, you know. I
Who want to
think,
give us soul food?
yes.
Just because you've been you like, come on now, fried chicken,
And I'm from Alabama, y'all.
right? And it's been now that we have vegan soul food, so
Ooh.
we won't.
Come on, New
But
Orleans.
we still
Come
in
on,
the
Baton
South
Rouge. Yeah.
where it's not as promoted.
Yeah. And my thing is, even black folks don't know that exists.
Yeah.
We only know because I Googled it, right?
Right.
So even that's not advertised. I'm pretty sure they have advertising. I'm pretty sure they have enough money though to do big advertising.
But they do have money for the advertising. They just don't put it into those companies. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm about to get to. They don't have the support behind them to push a great idea like black folks being vegan. They don't have the financial power for that.
A lot of these companies do. They just don't push it.
The people in power, yeah, because they may say we don't want that. They don't want the radio getting into the black folks. No. They actually do control what can be heard on the radio, y'all, and then what can be sold or talked about in television. Production companies definitely have a gatekeepers of what should be said, what should not be said. And I think that's a big thing about who gets information, who gets the education, and how can we uphold ourselves. And all this goes back to branding and marketing. It goes back to Black women voices over brands, And how many Black women who owns a company or a business and haven't had that full backing and support of marketing large. We're starting to see a little bit now. And thank God for different magazines that cater to Black women, specifically Black women. You can see some of those smaller organizations and businesses getting that promotion in some of these Black magazines and Black websites, right? That's promoting the things we should be,
Because just think about our products that we make.
Yeah, especially the spiritual ones. That's clean and herbal and full of spirituality, full of things.
A lot of people don't want to let go of the body washes that we use because it's in the stores and it's real hard to find natural stuff. I mean, you can find it on Instagram and some people who do sell them, but sometimes they be in other states and then shipping and
lack of accessibility.
It's not so much. They can only produce so much or so many products at once. One person can't do 100 orders.
If it's homemade, yeah.
Right, and just they'll be up all night. It lasts 3 days. And, people want stuff fast. So like, it's convenience.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that I think that for me, that goes back to not everybody is ignorant. They just don't know how to get it.
Yes.
I'm big on that. I'm big on education. It really can solve a world because sometimes, it's about also access in education. It's about how can we get to that thing we just read a book about or we heard about in a video or we saw on Instagram. How can we have that in our life, right?
Because a lot of these companies trying to go natural, but they're not really natural.
Sure, they ain't ready for that. They're real natural. And I'm gonna say something about a lovely lady I love. I'm not gonna probably mention her name, but she also believes in herbal soaps and that you need to have things that not only wash your body but wash your soul and the energy that you come through and you collect throughout a daily. Soaps that's just not for the skin, but also for the spiritual energy and your aura needs to be clean, right? See what I just said? That's not on radio. That's not on internet stuff like that. You have to seek that. That's like small group stuff.
And then if it is talked about, it's crazy talk.
Yeah. What soap that can clean your mind and clean your energy? Yeah. You had somebody had a headache and the headache got on you and you take that home and that's a soap to take away that?
And if it's sold in the stores, I can guarantee you that it's not gonna clean you. I'm gonna put that out there. So if you buying stuff out of Whole Foods and it's supposed to cleanse you, don't do it, baby.
Yeah. I always look at the creator or the person who's over it and see how they live their life.
It may have started off natural, but a lot of time to preserve self-life, you have to do a little extra to it. That's one thing that I did learn by working in retail. Like a lot of things, done a little extra too, just to preserve self-life.
Yeah, I believe in that. Definitely.
So it's you got to read, because a lot of people can't handle a lot of stuff.
Reading, Black literacy.
No.
Black literacy. All right, so yeah, I'm going to, it's getting a little late. I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to talk about a page that's not on here. I think it's important. I'm going to read from it. So another reason why I love Miss Feminista Jones, she has a whole 2 pages dedicated to honoring and recognizing Black trans women. And as a Black cisgender woman, I think it's very great that she did that, to understand there's a connectivity with us, there's an intersectionality with us, and there is a sisterhood with us. So I want to read these words from her. It said, I think all women, our brothers, can take with us as well, understanding the connectivity with all of it. So here we go. Here we go. All right, so it's a lot to read, y'all. So I'm gonna try to read a little bit of it. In the same vein, another prominent group powerfully emerges as representatives of a demographic living under a perpetual threat, not only systematic oppression, but actual death. Black trans women. Despite being raised by queer Black women, identifying as one myself, I grew up with what I now know understand as horribly transphobic notions of stereotypes. I open with this not seeking empathy and understanding about some transformation. No. I say this because it is the past versions of myself that I own and will disavow now. I have spent more years thinking negatively about transgender people than I have affirmed them, celebrated them. Even in my early days on social media, I often used the T word slur and degrading words, referring to trans people as it even. I once read someone say there's no excuse for previous transphobia, and I agree. However, it was not until I was on Twitter when I even learned what was transphobia was. What is that? I had never heard of a term before. And when I began to listen to trans women, hear them speak, I began to learn so much more about the experiences and horrors of Black trans women, especially what they endured as they navigated the worlds that target the Black and dawns primarily to Black cisgender heterosexual men. The damages of what we have done. Dozens of trans people have been killed each year in recent years, with underreported numbers on race on rise across the nation. Part of the reason is underreported because law enforcement, witnesses, families, media often misgender trans people. So the accuracy of death toll is still not really estimated and will continue to be until society radically improves their acknowledgement and affirmation of trans identity and different pronouns. After listening and learning, I rebuke my past commentaries, my comments I've done in the past. I owe a great debt to all trans women who also have open and willingly shared their stories, opened doors and strength with those of us who needed to wake up and end our biases and bigotry. I am no means perfect, which is why I am initially hesitant to even write about Black trans women in my book, extensively and focus on them. I have learned the value of amplifying the voices of those even further marginalized, um, marginalized than I am in not claiming to emphasize our expertise in the lives of others. But how could I write a book about Black feminism without including Black women who needed affirmation and support more than ever? Our Black trans women. I'm grateful to them and their girls like us hashtag influence. I'm only on entertainment and seeing them Laverne Cox, her skyrocketing career, but also her pop culture, her news, her politics, the media the media maven Janet Mock and her businesses, her tech, even entrepreneur and actress Angelica Ross, dominating as the YouTube influencers Miss Clad Black, and forging forward with trends affirming activism like Monica Roberts. All right. As trans visibility increases and trans women are given more respect, love, and encouragement, support from within a community, there's more trans women that can contribute to the Canada Black womanhood. Trans women are women, period. So she goes on to talk about another Black woman I actually met, Miss Dr. Hunter. I met her, I was saying 2015. She talks about her and why she's important. And she basically says her accomplishments, her showing what Black trans women joy look like after so much Black trans horror and hate that's been going on. That's why we love Miss Dr. Hunter. She was a fierce when I got a hug from her, and she's still a fierce. Okay. She goes into the next page and talk about the great work of Marsha P. Johnson, which was a Black trans woman who started so much in the movement of the queer Renaissance, the queer liberation, with Stonewall riots. You
First to
know,
throw the stone.
the first. So she was the first Black woman to throw a stone, who actually created the whole Pride movement for Marsha P. Johnson. So I say I to say this. I often don't see Black cisgender women what I call having progressive sisterhood like this, where you actually have a 2 pages in your book talking about the value of our soaring as Black trans women and the collectiveness of it. Understanding our struggles, understanding how we are more similar than different, and also understanding your own issues within your own self and how you are going to create a better sisterhood and better loving of us. Um, so yeah.
First of all, can we just give the flowers to our trans women now, and just
Yeah.
just give a moment of silence for our trans sisters who are not ancestors,
Mm,
who now walk with us on the daily to
mm,
make sure we still having rights.
yeah.
Because
Some of my sisters are not here today.
for senseless stuff,
Senseless stuff.
senseless. I know everything. I know everything happens for a reason, and everybody choose their own path. But it's it's still heartbreaking when one of your sisters is taken away from you.
Yeah. Mm. And for me, it goes back to understanding our spirits deserve life, and goes back to understanding um there's still so much hatred, there's still so much ignorance towards Black trans women. There's still so much violence against us. And she wrote that down and spoke on it. So we definitely need to honor even our Black trans brothers
Yes.
who also have been killed, who also have been bullied, beaten, harmed. So I want to make sure we give both genders of transness liberation and celebration in this moment.
Because it's so much senseless violence, across the board that we don't need to add on to our own.
Yeah.
They kill us on the daily
Hmm.
for just being Black.
Hmm.
There's no need for us to kill each other for just trying to exist.
Yeah. And I'm gonna push it forward. I'm big on knowing the history, knowing the present, and I'm big on also Black trans joy. So I'm also happy that she highlighted Dr. Hunter because I represent one of those other women outside of Dr. Hunter that represents trans women having liberation, walking in joy. What does that look like? having the privilege to even be on the camera and speak to y'all, having the privilege to use my education, my voice, being some form of community education, knowledge for y'all, right? And that to me all formulates joy. There's so many trans girls that don't have opportunity to speak and to be seen as valuable and to have that community of support, right? So I want to make sure that we also understand that we just not only stop violence towards trans women, but listen to trans women. Make sure we promote and affirm trans women, employ trans women. It's not just don't kill us now. For me, it's pushing it forward to let us live a full life.
Yes.
Meaning that even if I survive, you don't shoot me, don't make me feel like I'm not invited to the room.
Yes.
Make sure that you know that what I bring, my existence is valuable.
Not tolerated,
but valuable and celebrated.
Yes.
And it's so many things to learn in this experience. Is how to communicate to cis folks or straight folks or whatever, how to love, how to affirm, how to be coexisting to trans folks, because that's the work for me.
You know how we say we sick of trying to educate white people. Okay, queer people trying to educate cis people on information.
Come on,
that's free, that's out there. It's so easy to pick up a book, so easy to Google
Black literacy,
okay, and read, and to and not just to read, but to get understanding.
Yeah,
that's
have
a
dialogue,
big key.
Communicate about what
know. And if you don't know a trans person or a queer, find somebody, ask them questions.
Well, make sure they want to, because some of my sisters self.
Well, if they step, they don't know.
That's the whole point.
But there are a lot of trans women online who are.
So find a woman that do talk about trans stuff like me and other trans women. Find us, ask us questions.
Yes.
Every trans woman don't want to be an advocate. Every trans woman ain't trying to be in spotlight.
No.
So find the ones that do, because some of these women will cluck your ass. Yeah. And I'm here for it. I'm here for knives, guns, and punching niggas who try you. I'm one of those. So
and be and try to be as educational as possible. Not full of ignorance.
Yeah.
Actually listen.
Yeah.
I think it's important. Just listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't listen. We just like to hear ourselves talk.
Yeah.
But listening is valuable, and actually empathizing with the struggle of what somebody's been through, because you just never know. I've heard so many stories, and it's heartbreaking, because I didn't have the same experience, but to hear some of my sister's stories, it's sometimes breaking our heart.
Yeah, so many sad stories that trans women lives have gone through.
But there's also so much joy too.
Woo, that's what I'm on. Let's talk about that.
Okay, there's also so much, because let's look at the success of a lot of trans women who are visible, who are really out there doing. T.S. Madison got a TV show. Sydney Stars on
I think so. Yeah, sister is on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Janet Mock. Right. They created the whole directed the whole Pose.
Right.
I can just name.
Our sister had a moment.
Oh, listen. I'm here for Miss Janet. She could do no wrong. Miss Mock had to let them hoes know.
I was here for it.
She listen, it's Hollywood, honey. She had to let them people know, and I'm here for it.
Pay me what I worth.
Deserve. Get into it.
Pay me. Don't just sit up there.
I be listen as a person. Y'all think I'm always into spiritual stuff, which I am. I be doing my own things in the garden and speaking to people and stuff like that. But I be catching on to what be happening, and I be here for it. I'm like, this is a show. Okay.
I ain't gonna say what my MC Deborah said, because I ain't gonna use the F word on your platform.
We already clipped already, child.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. Because she said I'm here with the shit.
Yeah.
Okay. No, she said, I don't have time for that shit.
Yes, the F word. We're not gonna use that word. But we know.
I got, you know what? Yes, I do. I got time for it.
We here for all the games.
Okay.
We live all the
We
games.
all we here for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I need to make sure that we have open minds and we affirm all forms of queerness.
Yeah.
That's love and
Like
good. Yeah.
and everything clean.
Yes, yeah. So I'm gonna
Sometimes
say,
even the restaurants.
all rest people need love. Good posts in the hood and trailer parks need love. And then yes, not me, but yes. Came from it, but we came a long way. That's so funny. But I'm gonna end with this. I think that this chapter for me means find the influence of the light in yourself, right? What is your purpose? What do you want to say to the world? Use that as a form of vesseling and channeling to what you want to do. It can be all forms of things you can use. Um, to speak to people, to be of service, to be a vessel and a voice. Um, yeah. So use those gifts and purposes that God has given you. Use those divine rites of passage for yourself. And because we all are influencers, or we all are educators, or we all are teaching people in multiple ways. There are eyes on us in multiple ways. So use that. So I'm gonna close this out with that tonight, y'all. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend, and y'all enjoy the rest of your day. All right, and I am once again your girl Timeless Tate, and I am with
No,
yes Nova, and thank you for being with me today.
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're talking about the book. There's more books to come, y'all. And that's it for us, y'all. Y'all gonna take care and be blessed. Get you a drink or relax. Yes, ma'am. And that's it for Feminine Garden. All right, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.